Welcome back to Q&A with S&A. I'm Andrea.
And I'm Shane.
And today we are joined in our podcasting studio by a really familiar face at Aintree Group, Alex Baldock, who is our beautiful client manager at Eclar, the place that we've talked about a lot on this podcast. But she's also one of the founders of Club Ben Studio, so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, because lots of the Aintree Group team have had the pleasure of being in a room with you for beautiful, beautiful work. So thank you for joining us today, Alex. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So we know you through Eclar. You've been there for how long now?
3.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's crazy.
So 3.5 years at Eclar.
Yeah.
I love the place. You know that I love the place because I come in and I have my own booth. I really don't, but I do. What do you love about being at Eclar?
Great question. I really love the people. So a lot of my job is with people, whether it's my team or the broader team or the members there. And I just love that no day is the same. So I get to have chats with people, whether it be, you know, people in marketing, people in financial services, or maybe a freelancer. And then I just get to, learn so much about people's lives and look after them and have a great time. And the time flies as well. I think that's the best thing as well. You never know what's coming next, and that's always exciting. But yeah.
You're at Eclar and you do membership management there. So you're looking after all of us in our things. But you love people and you've always had people roles, right? It's not like Eclar, this role at Eclar isn't the first time you've worked in people, is it?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I think all of my roles, bar maybe when I was an EA, was very front-facing. But even as an EA, like you're looking after a larger team and someone as well. So it's just a different kind of people management role. But yeah, I just think like I get so much energy being around different people and problem solving as well, because you know, people have always got something going on, and
of course they do.
You know, they always need a helping hand or a listening ear quite often as well. So
exactly. And so tell us a bit about I'm going to use a word you don't like it, journey. Tell us a bit about Alex's journey. Where, you know, what brought you to where you are right now?
Okay, so great question. Okay, we're going to start. So I'm from Adelaide, as we were saying before. So I'm from Adelaide, born and bred, and there was a moment after uni. So Dad was very keen on me going to uni. I had no idea what I wanted to do. He was like, go and get a degree. And I was like, oh, Dad, really? Like, I just want to work in the pub and hang out with my friends and do all those fun things. But I went to uni, I went and got the degree, and it was an arts degree, and I was majoring in art history. So I wanted to do museum curation. And I was about to go on to do a master's, and then I had this pivotal moment in my life where essentially broke up with my boyfriend at the time, and I just needed to get out. Adelaide, as we were saying, is a kind of small country town. So if you don't want to see someone, you're generally going to see them. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter which street you walk down. So I had this epiphany one night where I was like, I'm going to book a one-way trip to Madrid. I was like, I'm just going to do it. Who knows where I'll go? I wanted to pack everything into a carry-on bag, much to my mom's dismay. She was like, it's not going to happen. It didn't happen. Last minute, she was like, here's a suitcase. So I'm like, okay. So booked the one-way trip to Madrid, got a visa for the UK, and I was like, cool, let's go. So I went, had so much fun by myself, travelled all around Spain, went to Germany, went to the UK, landed in London, ran out of money. I was like, okay, better get a job. Better start life again. So from there, essentially fast forward, I landed into a flat share, met my now husband, and we moved back to Australia. We told his mum that we'd be gone for a year, and it's been 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's amazing what these little choices actually lead you to, and just unexpected, completely unexpected. So then when I landed back in Adelaide, I was like, okay, need a job once again. So I was just doing some temp work for an engineering firm, and I landed a role in client experience, which was the first time I'd really heard of that term before. And they offered to move me to Melbourne. And I was like, great, because Tom couldn't get a job. He was working in music at the time. So there's not a whole lot of music industry in Adelaide. So he was struggling to get a position. So we moved to Melbourne. He got a job straight away. And, and then it kind of just flowed on from there. Yeah.
So now you're both away from your families, just that poor Tom is about 24 hours flight away and you're about, a 7-hour drive. What does Tom's mum think now that he's been over here for that long?
Do you want to, what are you going to say on the recording?
I know,
This is public record.
It's okay. We won't tell Tom's mum that this podcast is happening. So.
She would love for us to be back there, of course. But there's something really beautiful about having your family on both sides of the world. You kind of get to have the best of both worlds. So we've got a great excuse to go and do a Euro summer whenever we want, which is always nice, or like a really cozy Christmas. That's also great. But gosh, it's one of those things you can't win. Really.
No, exactly. What made you choose Australia over staying in the UK or staying in Europe?
I wanted to go to Berlin. I was like, Tom, let's go to Berlin.
He
was like, no, let's go to Adelaide. I was like, have you been to Adelaide?
Berlin,
Adelaide. So he chose. I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's do that. And then I think it's just such an easy way of life here. Like, we're so lucky. Everything is just, easier, cheaper. Like, more affordable.
Any thoughts that at some point you might do like the usual thing where you do 6 months over there and 6 months over here?
In an ideal world, for sure, right?
Like
that's everyone's dream.
Yeah.
Or just chase summer.
Exactly. Exactly. What about Berlin that was the place that you were thinking?
I really love the art scene there. It was just really fun and just really. Have you guys been? Very grungy, very different, and it was just where I was sort of led to. And I think at the time as well, it was quite easy for Australians to move over there, so you could easily get a visa, and there was a fairly big Australian community there as well. Didn't need to know German, so bonus.
Fantastic. What an exciting way to be. I would have loved to have done that when I was younger. I didn't get a chance to do it because of Shane.
So it's my fault.
It's totally his fault. I'm going to say that. We had this dream once, Alex, that we would go and live over in the UK for a year, but we sort of backpacked around for a little while and then came home because, there was a job opportunity on the table for Shane that just was silly to refuse. But we have lots of our team who have done that, and it used to be a thing with accountants. I don't know whether you know this, but lots of accountants used to finish their what is called the CA program, which is like their postgraduate work. They would finish and then they would go over to the UK and they would work over in the UK for a year or 2 years or something like that. So it was a really common thing to do about, 30 years ago or something like that. But I know I'm now making you even feel even older.
Do you want to just disclose how old I am?
Everyone knows how old you are.
Bank account details as well?
It's a normal thing though, isn't it? And what do you think now? You still love to travel because you've got an Instagram profile that I think is public, so it's okay to talk about, but you do spend a lot of time travelling, don't you? You and Tom now as well. Too.
Absolutely. And I just think travel really gives you something that staying still can't. It's that sense of adventure. It's that sense of just like meeting new people once again, eating great food, walking down a different street that you don't usually walk down. I just think there's so much to absorb and see in the world. And I think as well that kind of stems from the art history degree as well, because what I loved about art history is that it's so significant of different spaces in time. So, for example, like artwork that was really prevalent in World War II is reflective of that time, right? And I just think that there's so much to see in a city, from historical landmarks to like current things, and it's exciting.
It is.
Right? It keeps life fresh and it reminds you that there's so much more to where you are right now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Favourite place in the world to travel?
Ooh, I don't think I've been there yet.
So the bucket list.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'd love to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you been to Japan?
Yeah, we've been to Japan. Yeah. I spent a bit of time in Japan before Shane and I were together. So, yeah, it was a long time ago, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. So, Japan is on the list of us as well to go back, just for the food mostly. But it is a really cool place to travel, but it's been a long time since we've been there.
It's very popular at the moment. Lots of Australians. They're actually, I think, restricting
I think there was talk about that as
Yeah.
well.
I think November is the cutoff that you have to get there before all these taxes come in.
Oh, wow,
for
okay.
Australians.
And are you planning on going there before November?
That's the plan.
Oh,
We'll see.
that's exciting.
We'll see.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we've got a Bali trip coming up before that.
So that's a good segue into the Bali trip, because it gets us to talk about Club Bend and the things that you do there. So aside from all of the exciting stuff you do at eClar, you're also a Pilates instructor and business owner in a Pilates studio. So what got you into that? Because it is a little different. So it's still people related, but...
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, I think I grew up with a tennis racket in my hand.
Yeah.
So my dad was always like, okay, get a sport, be active every day. He sort of drilled that into me. It's where his passions lie as well. So he lectures physical education at unis and writes curriculum for schools and that type of thing. So it was a very active household. And I think when I moved to London, I was working in some fairly high stress environments and I turned to yoga as a way to just de-stress. Yeah. And then also when I was working in one of those places, I hurt my back, which is such a classic thing when you're stressed, lower back goes like that. It's running around in some stupid shoes or something running in a van. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm only 24, how's my lower back out? And then I went to see a physio and they were like, oh, you should do mat Pilates. I was like, oh, okay. So then I started getting into mat Pilates as well. And I was like, gosh, these two practices really complement each other. One, I think, is great for your mental health and you just feel so chilled, so zen after. And then the other is also great for your physical health and longevity as well. So I'd say it came about as a coping mechanism. Yeah. And then I loved it so much. And I was like, gosh, I'd love to share these practices with other people. And I think my yoga teachers and my Pilates teachers were some of my favorite people I'd see week to week. You know, they were very much the best part of my day or my week. I'd look forward to it. So I was like, gosh, I'd love to be that for other people. Yeah. So that's kind of what inspired that. Yeah. And it had always been on my radar to do, but these trainings, they're expensive. Yeah. You know? So I think one day I was just like, Tom, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to dive into a training. And he was like, okay, cool. So it started with a 200-hour yoga teacher training. And that was I wasn't expecting this, but it was very spiritual. And there was hardly any movement. And it was lots of chanting and lots of tantric philosophy. And I was kind of like, whoa, where am I? What's going on? Yeah. This wasn't what I thought. I thought I'd teach people how to do a warrior two and move. But through that as well, I learned lots of meditation techniques. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I did a 300-hour teacher training, which was very anatomy focused, very physical. So then I was like, okay, cool. I feel fairly balanced in my training and my teaching abilities. Yeah. And then COVID hit and I just started teaching in studios and all the studios closed. So everything moved to online, and online's great because, you get quite fit. Yeah. Teaching and doing the class, right? And you kind of know what your students are going through. So you're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's hard. And then mat Pilates started to really rise as a preferred movement pattern for people. I think for whatever reason, fitness trends, they kind of come and go, and mat Pilates was just really having a moment and still is now. So I was like, oh, might as well just tack on a mat Pilates training while I'm in quarantine. I was like, okay, I've got this time, I might as well use it. Yeah. So I smashed out mat Pilates training online for I think it was a week or 2 weeks, whatever that quarantine time was when you got COVID. Yeah. Because Tom got COVID. So I was like, I'm going to use this time. I'm going to get a qualification. Might as well. Nothing else to do. And then studios reopened. Yeah. And then I started teaching both. So, I love both equally. Yeah, it's really nice to have that balance.
Yeah. We've done a lot of we did yoga during COVID as well. It was one of the things, and it was yoga with Adrienne.
Yes.
I think it's really common that people say, oh, yeah, we all did that because Benj, her little dog, and we were like, we're just going to watch Benj and we'll do some yoga while we do it. But I think we all did that sort of, you move to an online forum and, you hear people's voices more than what you may normally hear them because you're really relying on just listening to what they're doing. And I personally think that yoga with Adrienne she just has this beautiful voice and you can, you're calm.
Yeah, it's the calmness of it.
Yeah. We've had a few people in our team do the Pilates and yoga classes with you, Alex, and I just recall very early on that one of our male team members was like, Pilates, it'll be fine. And he was sort of standing in the middle on a mat in the middle of all of the girls that had gone to do Pilates, and he was struggling, like he really was. And we're all struggling as well because there's nothing, we're all putting in one of Alex's really heavy classes and we were just giggling in the corner going like, yeah, you thought it was going to be easy and it really isn't that easy.
Yeah. And I think that's what's great about mat Pilates. It's just chill. Like you can have a laugh during it. Whereas like how often do you see people laugh in a yoga class?
Yeah,
like, it's very focused. It's just a different vibe, right? So you can have a bit of a laugh. Everyone's kind of like, oh, that hurts. Like, oh, what? Like it's a bit of fun. It's just a different vibe.
You definitely don't expect it to hurt as much as it does.
And it's so surprising. You're like, I'm literally lying on my side, lifting my leg up and down. Why does this hurt so much? Or like, I'm lying on my back. Like, why is this so hard? But it just shows you what you can do with a mat, your body, like
exactly.
no props.
Yeah. You don't need the big fancy sets of equipment or anything. It can just all be that. The classes that you do, so you now have a studio, so you share. Tell us a bit about that because that's a really interesting story because the studio is in Gippsland and you are not. So how does that work?
Exactly. So my business partner, Taylor, we used to work at a studio here in Melbourne and we were the sequence trainers. So she looked after Reformer Pilates, I looked after yoga and mat Pilates and I was running the studios as well. So I was the studio manager and the sequence trainer. So we were doing a lot. It was so much fun, so challenging though. Like you're training brand new instructors to teach on brand. You mentor them and then you have to go to the public classes, give them feedback and all of that. So it was a lot. It was so much fun. Crazy hours as well. So think like 5 a.m. starts and sometimes you're there till 9 p.m. at night.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's a big day.
It is a big day and then you've got to look after all the studio stuff in between. So, it really does give you an insight into the non-glossy side of the fitness industry and the Pilates industry. And then we just had this idea. We were like, we should start doing corporates. And then, because we've got this time block in the middle of the day. Surely places would like us to come in and just teach them classes. So that's where the idea was born, really. And it was born in the back room in the office part of that studio. Yeah. And then that evolved into running events. So we were like, cool, let's just run events in really beautiful places in Melbourne. Our first event was overlooking the Yarra about 14 stories up in the CBD. That was so cool. So we had all of our friends there for like our launch party, had some nibbles and wine after, and it was just, such a vibe. And then Taylor moved back to Gippsland. So she's from there. They bought a house there. And, and we're like, oh, what does that mean for Club Bend? What does that mean? And then out the back of her house, she's got a beautiful, essentially another house, which they transformed into a studio space. Yeah. So it's got a mat room, a reformer room, and then a beautiful sort of lounge area as a reception space. Yeah. So, she did try to convince us to move to Gippsland and, I might have, but once again, Tom was like,
if there's no music scene in Adelaide, I can't imagine how big the music scene is in Gippsland.
Exactly. He's like, I don't know if I could go back to somewhere that's like a little bit smaller again. I was like, no, that's fine. And it's only a 2-hour drive to Traralgon. It's not too far.
Traralgon.
So what we do now is Taylor looks after the studio and we've got another amazing instructor who works there, Brooke, and I look after all the marketing and then we run events and then retreats as well. So I kind of look after the Melbourne arm, the marketing, the retreats, the events. Taylor looks after the studio, so we kind of split it down the middle that way.
Yeah.
But it's always so nice to go back to Gippsland, like something like a country community.
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
just
No,
so
you're right.
friendly.
Yeah.
So nice. Yeah.
The events in Melbourne, let's talk about those because it'll give you an opportunity to, for people to understand what that's all about. There's lots of different things, isn't there? You've got a book club, which I've been getting lots of WhatsApp messages about today because we've got a couple of books on the go. The walking side of things, and then Saturday and Sundays you do some events over at E-Club, but also at other places, all open to the public, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a member of anywhere to do it. So tell us about how that all evolved, because I've done a couple of your Sunday afternoons where you go in and do a couple of hours together, and the sound bath, which is amazing, and I love it so much. Tell us how that works too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the intention behind the events is to just extend the studio experience. So I think, busy Melbourne life, you go into a studio, you run in, you run out. That's basically it, right? It's like you go in to get it done. It's usually right before work or maybe right after. And, building that community is really challenging in Melbourne, whereas Gippsland people have a little bit more time. They love to have a chat and, it's a little bit different. So that was the intention behind the events. It was to give people a community feeling and just no rush, and to sort of extend the experience beyond just a class.
Yeah.
So whenever I run an event, I love to tack on a little something else, whether it is a slow flow practice into journaling, into a sound bath meditation, or maybe it's a mat Pilates class with some beautiful acai bowls after or something like that. So it's nice just to create, a real experience to come into where people can hang out and, bring their friends along to do something that's not, say, going out for dinner or, going out for drinks, just another nice thing that you can do with your friends.
Yeah.
And then the book club's actually such an interesting one. Me and Taylor laugh about this all the time. So I don't know where that idea came from because neither of us are big readers, but we were like, oh, we should start a book club. I think we wanted to start reading more or something. And we launched it, and it's the most successful thing we've ever launched. And it's we got 60 signups straight away, and we're like, oh my gosh, okay, people want this. That's good. Yeah. We're like, we better start reading now. And then we started doing these community walks as well. So that's just a nice free experience. So people can come in, they can just even if you don't know anyone, you can just do a lap around the town with us, have a chat. Maybe you've read the book, maybe you haven't. I don't think Taylor's actually finished any of the books, so no shade if you haven't. We run them in Gippsland and in Melbourne. Yeah. So it's a nice little opportunity, if you're not into Pilates or yoga and you still want that community vibe, we do that. So,
So how do you juggle all this? So you've got ECLA and then you've got this.
I noticed that was a laugh, I don't juggle it all.
Oh, it's easy, yes. Yeah.
No, not easy. I was laughing because I'm like, do I juggle it? Time management. Yeah, I think that.
So you're good at time management.
You have to be, right? What is that saying? You want something done, you give it to one of the busiest people that you know because it will get done. Yeah. And I think I thrive by lots of different things going on. I just feel so engaged and so motivated and so inspired. So, yeah, I am brilliant with time management. I'm not so brilliant at stopping. So I think that's definitely a challenge for me because I can just keep going because I get so excited by things. Yeah. And a new idea will pop in. I'll be like, let's do this. And Tom's like, hey, Alex, we haven't had a date night for about a month. Yeah. Can you maybe get a class covered? I'm like, yes, okay. Yeah. I also live by my Google Calendar. If something is not in the calendar, it's not getting done, you know. And then trying to juggle that across multiple calendars, work calendars, club band calendar. So but time management is key, and something I've started to implement is now 2 days off a week. So before I was teaching on the weekends, and I've just started to strip that back because it's all well and good to build momentum with things, but I think the longevity comes from taking time to pause and to recharge, and then you come back so much stronger and better for that next week or next chapter, whatever it may be. So
and you can turn off on the weekend?
Yeah, I'm getting better at it. Getting better. Reading helps. Reading really helps actually, and a physical book versus say Kindle. And I think the other notch to that is a lot of my work is like online. So it's on my phone. So I look after our, Instagram accounts, my own Instagram account, not that that's that big, but, it's all sort of on your phone. So it's easy for work to creep in on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just get that post done, or that looks beautiful, I'll put that somewhere.
Yes. And I think because I love it so much and it doesn't feel like work. So I don't know if you guys get that as well with your work, those boundaries.
Yeah, we totally always love it. It's so exciting being an accountant, Alex. It's super exciting. Shane will often see a picture of a calculator and think, God, I've got to post that on my Instagram.
I always do. I don't know how to post it on Instagram. That's the first part of it.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. That doesn't mean I'm a dinosaur, but that one I just don't know what to do. Yes.
Skills in different places.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. We need you as well. Yeah.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
It's funny that you should say, making sure that you take time for yourself and those 2 days off on the weekend, because obviously Pilates and yoga is really all about self-care, and like a plumber with their pipes or an accountant who doesn't do their tax, not that that's us, but you forget about yourself, don't you, because you're busy looking after all of the other people in your life. So has that been hard for you to, stop and think? Has Tom had to say, Alex, come on? It's not just about we haven't got date night, but, you need some time for yourself as well.
Yeah, it's been a bit of column A and column B. So I was teaching a really beautiful Saturday morning block, and I did that for about block of classes. I did that for about a year and a half, I want to say, and I loved it because the same people would show up every week, and it really felt like a great community experience. But somewhere along the line it just shifted for me, and I was like, oh, this is starting to feel a little draining. So I think as soon as something starts to feel like that and I'm not receiving like I am giving, there's not that balance of receiving and giving, then that's a sign for me to not. So I'm pretty in tune with that now. But I think definitely in the early years of teaching, especially with the studio management and the mentoring and everything, that was pretty relentless. And then at that time as well, I was running a social media agency side by side. So it was just too much, my body was just no. Yeah. I think as soon as you start getting sick, you start losing your voice, you start, all those things. It's a pretty good sign that you might have overdone it. Yeah.
And one of the other things that you've started to do as well with Club Bend is the retreats, which are a beautiful way. There's lots of people who do these sorts of beautiful retreats now, which I think is that, I think it stemmed from a book originally that, women started to get together and go on retreats with other women and get together to do yoga and Pilates. Because you don't have that sort of Melbourne-based studio community, so there are lots of Pilates studios around who have those. Do those people who go on those retreats with you, is it all word of mouth? How do you market that? Because marketing is a big part of what you do too. So
great question. I think a lot is word of mouth. I think, and it's like any business. It's the same at eClaw, right? I think a lot of the members who come in, they have either been told about us, someone's had a great experience, so it might be a friend of a friend or people who come regularly to our classes. But marketing a retreat is another beast. It's really fascinating, and I'm still very much playing with it. There are a few trends that I've seen though. So the first is that, your build up is really important. So hinting at it, starting to drop those little breadcrumbs in, getting people excited, getting people on a wait list, say, and then exclusively dropping the retreat to that wait list is really useful before you launch to the public. I think making people feel like they're in an exclusive group is really important and really special. And quite often we'll offer a special price for that amount of time. So you create urgency and offer that, and then you launch to the public, and usually have I'd say over half of the people usually sign up straight away, and it's usually within that first couple of weeks of launching or pre-sale. And then crickets for months. And me and Taylor are oh my gosh, are we going to be able to go? What's happening? Yeah. And then before you know it, everyone's it's 2 months out, and they're oh, I want to come. And you're okay, cool, great. So it's really
Thanks
fascinating.
For the forward notice.
And we're oh, we didn't have stress. But yeah, I've spoken to other friends who also run retreats, and it seems to be a trend.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting to note. But there's something so special about, have you guys been on a retreat? No. I hadn't either before last year, and we had planned a retreat, and I was like, I should probably experience one first before running one. I was I should probably go in. So a friend of mine was running one in Bali as well. So I was like, I'm going to go. Perfect. And it was one of the most transformative times. And I know that sounds so cliched to say, but what I got out of it wasn't what I expected I'd get out of it. I thought I'd come back feeling super relaxed and just like so clear on, my next step forward and everything. I came back with barley belly. I came back like disheveled. I came back like, oh my gosh. But then what happened afterwards was a huge change. It was when I cut back a lot of my teaching. It was when I did my taxes actually for the year before.
Well done.
I was really putting that one off. So, I did it on the island and I actually got tax back. So love that.
Perfect.
After the year before being in a lot of debt. So perfect. So it was a good luck charm. But yeah, so I think, you think you're going to get something out of a retreat and then something completely different happens. Touch wood, no barley belly. But, you just sort of roll with the punches, see what happens. And also just the people you meet is amazing.
Yeah.
So nice.
What sort of people are going on these sorts of retreats? Like, because I guess we see the videos of what happens and it's all Instagram and everyone looks beautiful and they're all in their like expensive brands and stuff like that. But what is it actually really like? Like how do you connect as the person who's running the retreat, as the teacher, with the people there? And what would you do if you got a Shane, someone who is a bit of a doubter, like is on it because they've, been told by their wife that they have to go and, clear their head and be a bit zen.
Totally. I'd love a Shane to come. I'd say bring it on.
Is there a place?
Yeah, absolutely. The diversity in the group is always great. But I think for Taylor and I, what we want to create is less of a like transformative, you're going to, change your whole life experience. We just want to give people a nice chance to switch off. Yeah. And more than anything else, just like everything is organised. So you just have to book. We organise your food. We organise your flight transfers. We organise activities. But also everything's optional. So, things are all planned and it's sort of like an all-inclusive holiday. Yeah. But without the kids club. Basically.
So you're basically giving everyone who comes along a giant hug and saying, we've got this for you. You just pack your suitcase and arrive at the airport, which is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, so nice. It's honestly so nice. Yeah. And then naturally the group just binds together. So last year we had half Melbourne, half Gippsland people. Okay, which is really cool. And everyone just naturally got along, like from all different walks of life. It was really cool to see. Yeah. Yeah, and all ages as well. There was a mum and daughter. There were people sort of mid-40s. A couple of younger people as well. So it was, mixed bag. Yeah.
Many men that go on their own or?
There was one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which is good. But he went with his friends who are girls. So, take your best girlfriends.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those things that's hard for a man to, put his hand up and say, I'm going to do this retreat because what do you say to your friends at the pub? Like, I'm going on a retreat, Pilates retreat to Bali.
Yeah, so true. I actually haven't thought about that. Yeah, it's true.
Maybe he didn't tell his friends.
That might be impressive.
Yeah, no, I think it would be impressive. I think most women would actually sit back and go, that's really like a good thing for you to do. But other men probably wouldn't, take it that way, I think. Totally. Which is maybe why there's not as many men doing it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a male-only retreat and market it a bit differently.
Yeah, it's interesting because the wellness industry is very female-specific, particularly in yoga and Pilates. I mean, there's obviously a very male element to fitness as well, but yoga and Pilates is the studios that are the big, name studios. They typically look they look female oriented. They, have lots of women in them and stuff. when you and Taylor decided that you were going to do a studio, what went through your mind to think about how you were going to set it all up?
Yeah, so well, it's interesting. Firstly, I'm going to say I get nearly 50% males in my yoga classes.
Okay,
great.
It's really interesting, really fascinating. But anyway, that's a side note. But we just thought about creating an inclusive space. So Taylor is clinically trained in Pilates as well. So she's trained to look after injury, pregnancy, etc. So she does have some people come in who are sort of rehabbing from an injury or something. So I think that brings in another element. And I think as well, we just want people to have a laugh, like not take it so seriously, and also not be there for, say, the whole Pilates princess aesthetic or anything like that. And I don't think we're that either. So, we just want it to be a nice space that people can come switch off and just like let go of their day or whatever's going on with their kids or, I think
that's been my experience when I've walked in a room with you or with any of the people that you have brought into your classes, because it's not always you running the class either. Sometimes you've brought other people in, and I have found that it is a much more inclusive space. Like you don't have to feel like you've been dressed a certain way or your blanket is the right colour or your socks aren't matching. I think frequently I go in there and I look down and say, okay, that was, I didn't think that out very well with the two mismatched socks. And I find that sometimes these things can be really intimidating. Like you read stories online about studios and people feel like it's not very comfortable for them and stuff. And I think that's one of the differences that I've noticed when I've walked into a class with you, Alex, is that I do feel really comfortable, and you have a voice that makes it all feel very, very calm, and even when life isn't calm, and particularly on a Wednesday morning, which is, we talked about this the other day, I'm not a morning person. So when I go in for Alex's Wednesday morning classes, you can be assured that it's very deliberate. I've gone deliberately because I need to hear Alex's voice. It's very calm, and it's such a beautiful place to be in, which is a good thing for these sorts of studios, to feel like they're calm and neat, and you don't have to be a certain person to do it. So totally. Well done you for working on that. It's really really important. What's ahead for Alex and Club Bend aside from the retreat? So tell us about, how do you, we will share all of your details when we put the post up, but spaces left on the retreat that we can book. And
one for Shane.
Yeah,
just
excellent.
One for Shane.
Just one for you.
That's it. We're sold out. So the next thing coming up is actually our walks. So next weekend we'll be in Gippsland doing a nice walk around there, and then there's one in April in Melbourne, just slap around the tan. So that's exciting. It'll be nice to see everyone. I might do another event before Bali as well. I just kind of suss the vibe where people are at. Actually, a month or so ago, I collaborated with a friend of mine who has an essential oil business, and we said that we'd do one quarterly. So we'll probably have another one of them coming up, which is nice.
Beautiful.
And then Bali in May. We currently have one suite left, which is so exciting. Like I said, it was 3 or so 2 weeks ago, and then those 2 got snapped up. So one more left, which is so exciting. So that's in May from the 20th till the 24th. And then TBC. Yeah, me and Taylor are just like, okay, there are potential expansion plans for Gippsland. There's potential retreat within regional Victoria on the cards as well. A potential half-day retreat. So lots of things up in the air. We're just going to kind of suss and just see where the wind takes us. And, at ECLA as well, there's a lot of growth happening there. So I'm also leaving my calendar open in for, a little bit of more work. Longer hours.
Fantastic. So, Alex, before we finish up today, do you have a particular affirmation that you use that resonates with you in any environment, but maybe if we talk about something that is, when you're in a busy space and you just need to, take a lunch break, and maybe what do you say to yourself? What's your affirmation for that?
That is a really good question. Okay, I'm going to get a bit woo. My word for this year is peace. So that's sort of my guiding light. So I'm like, okay, is this decision going to bring me peace, whether that's in the long term or in the short term? And it actually stems from this yogic philosophy, which is Satchitananda, which means at the heart of everything, peace lays within.
Yeah.
So your truth, your light always is within. So yeah, my current affirmation is I am at peace, or I am peaceful. And I find that's just a really nice reminder to come back to, because it's also a decision quite often. It's like you can choose the path of chaos. You can choose the path of stress, of like, you know, over dramatizing things in your mind, or you can choose to say, that's okay, that's just, you know, passing cars. And this stuff is happening around me, but within always I'm at peace. I'm here.
Yeah, amazing. I'm so glad that I asked that question.
Good one.
Thank you for giving it to us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alex. It's always lovely to have you and in our space here, and for the first time on the podcast. I always say this, but happy to have you on again, particularly if there are other events that you'd like to talk about. And thank you to everyone for listening in today. We'll share Alex's info with all of our usual posts and stuff, but we'll chat again soon. Thanks again, Alex.
Thank you.
Right.